Hi everyone, and welcome back for the 8th module on minerals. Now, pound for pound, our bodies contain more water than any other component after considering oxygen. And water is the most important ingredient needed for life. So without water, the biological processes that we rely on and life itself would cease within a matter of days. And because we can't store this critical nutrient, we have to continuously replenish the water that's lost from our body. So water needs will vary depending on physical activity, environmental conditions like temperature and humidity, and individual characteristics and nutrient intake, especially protein and minerals. Most minerals are considered to be vital to our overall health. Now, these inorganic substances are critical to many body functions, including cell metabolism, nerve impulse transmission, and growth and development overall. Typical diets in developed countries contain sufficient amounts of most minerals, either as natural components of foods consumed or as additives that are put into foods for enrichment or fortification. Although severe deficiencies of minerals are rare in developed countries, a lot of people have lower than optimal intakes of some minerals, such as calcium, potassium, iron, and iodine, and yet have higher than recommended intakes of others, such as sodium. Deficiencies of certain minerals remain a major public health concern in some less developed countries. Minerals are often divided into two categories, major and trace minerals. Major minerals are those that require a larger amount of intake for the body to function properly, and this would include sodium, potassium, and chloride, which are also especially important in maintaining water and ion balance within the cellular environment. The other major nutrients are calcium, phosphorus, magnesium, and sulfur. So as you'll see in our discussion upcoming, the dietary requirements for trace minerals such as iron and zinc are small when compared with those considered major minerals. This lecture will first explore water and its roles within the body, and then we will continue on with the major minerals and their importance to human nutrition. Each of the trillions of cells within the body contains and is surrounded by water. In addition to that, it's probably no surprise that maintaining the right amount and balance of water within the body is essential to life. An adult can survive pretty much for several weeks without food, but only several days without water intake. And this difference in survival time between food and water occurs mostly because the body has stored reserves of carbohydrate, fat, protein, minerals, and vitamins, but no such reserves for water. Water is the largest component of the human body, making up approximately 50 to 75% of total body weight, depending on body composition and age. And water content is also highest for infants and children and declines as we age. About 55% of an adult's body weight would be made up of water. And if we're considering a 160-pound individual, for example, that would equate to about 10 gallons of water. Lean individuals have a greater percentage of body water over those considered obese because lean tissue contains about 73% water, whereas adipose or fat tissue is containing only 20% water. When considering body water, we see that it is found in two different body compartments. First, the intracellular compartment, or that inside the cell, and the extracellular component, or that outside of the cell. Almost 2/3 of body water is found in the intracellular fluid compartment, and the rest is in the extracellular fluid, where it is further divided into two additional compartments. The first being interstitial fluid, the fluid between cells, and the intravascular fluid, the fluid in the blood and lymph. Because of its unique chemical and physical characteristics, water is seen to play several key roles within the body. The maintenance of blood volume and the transport of nutrients and oxygen throughout the body depend on water. Water is also the basis for fluids that are synthesized throughout the body, such as saliva, bile, and amniotic fluid for a growing fetus. Water is also incompressible, so it's important in making the body's lubricants at the various articulations or joints. Water also serves as a solvent in many metabolic processes and actively participates as a reactant in numerous chemical reactions. For example, water is required for the hydrolysis of the disaccharide sucrose to the monosaccharides glucose and fructose. Water also helps to maintain body temperature within a very narrow and specific range, and also allows the body's enzymes to function normally. Body temperatures that are just a few degrees higher or lower than normal can damage body systems and even lead to death. Sweat, which is 99% water, is the second way that water helps the body to maintain normal temperature. Water is also an important vehicle for ridding the body of waste products. Most unwanted substances in the body are water-soluble and can leave the body by way of urine. In addition, liver metabolism converts some fat-soluble compounds, such as certain medications and potentially cancer-causing substances, into water-soluble compounds that can then be excreted in the urine. Minerals are essential inorganic elements needed in small amounts in the diet for normal function, growth, and maintenance of body tissues. Minerals are indispensable in the human diet because they are basic required elements and cannot be synthesized within the body. There are far more minerals considered essential than those that are considered to be nutrients that are essential. Generally, if we require 100 milligrams or more of a mineral each day, it is then considered a major mineral or macro mineral. Otherwise, it's then considered to be a trace mineral if it's in a lesser amount. Minerals in our diet come from both plant and animal sources. For some minerals, animal-based foods are the richest sourced and have the best bioavailability. For instance, milk products are rich sources of bioavailable calcium, whereas meat is a very rich source of bioavailable iron and zinc. On the other hand, magnesium and manganese and potassium are more plentiful in plant than animal foods, but compounds in plants might also diminish their bioavailability. The quality of minerals found in food is influenced by many different agricultural factors, including genetic variations that affect the ability of plants and animals to be able to absorb and store minerals, as well as the mineral composition of the animal feed used, any medications, and the mineral content of soil, water, fertilizers, or pesticides that are present. While it's true that foods offer a plentiful supply of minerals, the body will vary in its capacity to absorb and then use these minerals. The ability to absorb minerals from dietary intake has a few different factors. One significant factor is the physiological need for a mineral at the time of consumption. In general, when the need for a mineral is seen to be high, such as the need for iron in growing children, the absorption of that mineral increases. By contrast, absorption tends to decline when the body stores adequate supplies of a given mineral. Bioavailability is the term used to describe the second significant factor in our body's ability to absorb minerals. The bioavailability of minerals can greatly be influenced by the amount of minerals consumed, and this is because many minerals have similar molecular weights and charges. For example, magnesium, calcium, iron, and copper can each exist in the 2-valent state. These minerals can therefore compete with each other for absorption, thereby affecting each other's bioavailability. Once consumed and then absorbed, minerals will travel in the bloodstream either in free form or by binding to proteins. Now, for example, calcium ions can bind to the blood protein albumin. Trace minerals are known to be highly reactive, and many trace minerals have specific binding proteins that transport them in the bloodstream. Many are also bound by specific cellular proteins once they are taken up by the cells. The metabolic roles of minerals ingested will vary considerably. Water balance requires sodium, potassium, calcium, and phosphorus. Sodium, potassium, and calcium play an important role in the transmission of nerve impulses throughout the body. Some minerals, such as magnesium, copper, and selenium, function as something called a cofactor and will enable enzymes to carry out chemical reactions. Minerals can also be part of other body components. For example, iron is a component of hemoglobin and red blood cells. Body growth and development also depend on certain minerals such as calcium and phosphorus. So at all levels, cellular, tissue, organ, and the whole body overall, minerals play important roles in maintaining body functions.